Vehicle's internal.
Ground side gas closeouts are complete.
Falcon 9's in startup. Stage 2, press for flight.
Go for launch.
Stage 1, press for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Vehicle is pushing downrange. Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
Avionics power and telemetry nominal.
T plus 48 seconds after liftoff, Falcon 9 leaving Earth under 1.7 million pounds of thrust. We're throttling the 9 Merlin engines right now as we get ready for the period of a maximum dynamic pressure as the vehicle goes supersonic.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've heard a call out, vehicle is supersonic. The Merlin engines have throttled back up. We're through the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We've heard call out, propulsion is nominal. Avionics is reporting nominal status also.
Vehicle has passed through maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Next activity we hear call out is the start of MVAC chill. That's again preparing the turbo pump on the second stage. And we've heard the call that the chill looks good.
Hawthorne acquisition of signal.
Hawthorne acquisition of signal, that means our antenna here at Hawthorne has also acquired the first stage and the second stage. Now next major activity coming up in just about half a minute, shutdown of the 9 Merlin engines followed by stage separation, ignition of the second stage engine, and then immediately after that we will flip the first stage and do a boost back burn as part of the landing sequence. Getting a good view from onboard camera. The ground cameras aren't able to follow the rocket due to the fog today.
Eco. Stage 1 is in air to flip. Impact ignition. Stage 1's in boost back burn.
We've heard the call out. Stage 1 is in the boost back burn. The second stage successfully separated and lit. Getting some great views from space. If the sunlight was right, we'd be getting some great plume illumination, but it's a little early in the morning still here on the West Coast. Boost back burn continuing.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
We've heard the call out boost back shutdown, and on the right-hand side, we've got fairing separation. The 10 Iridium next satellites now exposed to the vacuum of space. Now the boost back burn that we just saw on the left screen, the first stage did a burn that had some velocity that canceled part of its downrange speed. It won't return all the way to Vandenberg, but it is headed to the drone ship that's about 235 kilometers downrange.
Stage 2 is following a nominal trajectory.
That call out stage 2 following a nominal trajectory, what we like to hear, second stage going right down between the predefined limits on the map that I'm looking at, showing that we're on target, we're on course. Pressurization temps, that's the hot helium we inject in the second stage, look good as we continue on into the burn of the second stage. Now currently we're about 4 minutes and 20 seconds into flight. The first stage has reached apogee. While it was lighting its engines a minute ago, it continued to climb. It's now reached the highest point called apogee. It's now beginning to descend to the drone ship in the Pacific Ocean. Some nice views from space, especially compared to what the fog did to our cameras at ground level. Second stage continues to be nominal. The upper stage engine is at full power. Everything's looking good. Now coming up next in less than half a minute is the entry burn. That'll be like the boost back burn we had a couple minutes ago. We're going to use the same 3 restartable first stage engines. We light the center engine, and then a second later we light the 2 outboard engines. And that'll slow us down to prepare us to go subsonic and get ready for the burn that will land us, hopefully, on the drone ship.
Stage 1's in entry burn.
Heard the call out, stage 1's in entry burn. You can see 2 of the titanium grid fins back illuminated by the burn from the 3 Merlin 1D engines.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Shutdown of the entry burn. We're at 6 minutes and 15 seconds. In about 30 seconds, we're going to have the landing burn. Now, as a reminder,
Stage 1
the
FTS
weather
has
and the sea
saved.
conditions are fairly rough. They're the worst that we've ever had for trying to get a first stage back on the drone ship. So it's going to be a little bit iffy here this morning. Meanwhile, second stage continues to be on trajectory, performance looking good. Now when we light the engine, we'll be down to about 650 miles an hour, and then in 30 seconds,
Stage 1's transonic.
we will be landing.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
Waiting for the downlink from the drone ship or from the Falcon 9.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. And landing burn shutdown.
We've heard a call out, landing legs deployed, then we heard landing shutdown. We don't have a very good picture, but we think we have a first stage on the drone ship. Meanwhile, second stage continues to burn, coming up on 8 minutes into flight. We'll get second stage engine shutdown in about half a minute, following which we'll enter a 43-minute coast.
Terminal guidance.
We've heard the call out, stage 2's in terminal guidance. That means we are now doing the math. You know, for those who've
Stage
done
2
the high
AFTS
guidance
has
math,
saved.
They know how we're guiding ourselves into the final orbit, and then we'll shut down the engine.
Seco.
We've heard the call out of SECO, and looking at
GNC confirms good orbit insertion.
the guidance plots we have in front of it, and we just a
Lost the
good
signal
one.
expected.
Second stage is right where we want it to be, and it also appears, although we were hoping to get a view
LOS
back
cook
from the drone
expected.
ship, that the first stage is on the drone ship, but there weren't any lights, so all we saw was the flicker of the engines as we shut down. Now on the fairing recovery attempt, there's no news to report right now. The fairings are slowly descending on parachutes. We are into a coast phase. This is going to last just over 40 minutes. We're going to come back with live commentary at T plus 50 minutes into the webcast, where we'll see the second burn of the upper stage and then the deployment of the 10 Iridium Next satellites. Now for those who are following along on the Iridium 7 Spotify playlist, it's going to continue playing. It goes all the way to the end of the webcast. So there's music behind coast phase. There's music behind getting ready to deploy the satellites. I want to be free. So you can listen to that all the way through if you're logged on to Spotify and following the list. So with that, I'll be back at T plus 50 minutes to continuing following the mission of Iridium 7 on Falcon 9.
No CO or something. Roger, fire department has completed their perimeter sweeps and they're open to go ahead and send your security up to the guard. Roger. Roger. Your security is taking control of the site. Rope line has been dropped and the air is now open. Congratulations.
Hey, welcome back. John Isbrecher at SpaceX headquarters here at the webcast desk. We're just past 50 minutes into flight. Catch you up on a few things. There is a shot cleaned up a little bit now. You can see the first stage is successfully on the drone ship. It fought off the wind shear, it fought off the sea state, and nailed the landing. So first stage is looking good. Second stage, as you noticed, as we flip back and forth between the two views looking at the engine, in one view there's a gasket. That's actually inside the camera. It came loose, but it's captive. It can't get out. It's not a risk to the mission. And then we promised you fairing status update. The recovery ship did confirm that we had bad weather out in the Pacific with that wind shear. They did see the payload fairing coming down, but they were not able to catch it in the net. We will continue to attempt that in the future as we learn how to bring fairings back and then reuse them. Now we're getting ready for ignition of the upper stage engine. This is a short 4-second burn. This is going to move the 10 Iridium Next satellites into their desired final orbit. So ignition should be coming up in about 20 seconds.
And back ignition.
Nominal orbital insertion.
And there you've heard the call out. We have nominal orbit insertion. The second stage engine ignited. We had a nice view of it right before ignition. Did its 4-second burn. The orbit looks excellent. We're up at around 625 kilometers in a circular orbit. And so the next phase is going to be about 5 minutes from now when we are going to deploy the 10 Iridium Next satellites. We'll do that on 100-second intervals. So we're going to hold the commentary again. We'll be back at T plus 56 minutes to follow the deployment of the Iridium Next satellites. plus 56 minutes into the launch of Falcon 9 with 10 Iridium Next satellites. We're currently 32 seconds away from the deployment of the first satellite. I think this one will be able to see that view from the second stage camera looking forward. It looks like possibly in the upper left we may see the first satellite drifting through a little bit through the field of view when we get to deployment. Now, as a reminder, every 100 seconds we'll be deploying another one of these. We're passing over Africa right now. We're using a variety of ground stations, so we may be able to bring you coverage of all of them. If we don't, we'll update you when we've got data.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
And we have confirmation of separation. You can see it drifting through the top of the screen. 1 down, 9 to go. We'll be back in 85 seconds with the second deployment. Coming up on the second satellite deployment in just under 10 seconds. Great view of the satellites with the Earth in the background. Data coming down through the Malindi ground station in Africa.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
Guidance and avionics engineer in this case confirms the second spacecraft is separated. We now begin the standard 100-second cycle as we prepare for deployment of the third spacecraft. Coming up on deployment number 3, I believe this one's out of the field of view if the map that I've got is correct, and we'll just hear a verbal call out.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
Confirmation from avionics. Spacecraft has separated. Next up, the fourth satellite in 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Gracious loss of signal expected.
Melindy is tracking, but it only has network, no video. Dubai acquisition.
We're coming up on the 4th deployment. You just heard the call out. Dubai has acquisition of signal. We may get some video. The Melindy ground station has been tracking us. And now we've got signal courtesy of the Dubai ground station.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
There you go. It's a great view of satellite deploy. There are 2 stacks of Iridium satellites, 5 on top, 5 on the bottom. We're deploying off of the top stack right now, and you got a great view of the 4th satellite being deployed. Just over 10 seconds away from the 5th deployment. I think on the Spotify list, we're playing Let's Dance right now. An old favorite. Now this satellite will not be in view of the camera. We'll only hear the verbal call out.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
Confirmation. 5th spacecraft confirmed. That cleans up the upper tier. All 5 satellites deployed off of the upper half of the dispenser. We'll now begin deploying the lower 5 satellites. Again, a few will be in the field of view and a couple will not be. Ten seconds away from deployment of the 6th satellite. You can see views of the engine. Now we're looking forward. I think we'll get a view of this one drifting through the field of view of the camera attached to the 2nd stage.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
A nice view. We're getting great views from the camera. Data transmitted to us down through the Dubai ground station. We're passing over Africa, the Horn of Africa, heading our way up into the European Asian continent. One comment on the engine view right now, you can see at the edge there was that white puffy object at the end of one of the tubes. That is solid oxygen. There's still some oxygen left in the 2nd stage of the Falcon 9. And in order to prepare the turbo pumps, keep them maintained, we purge and make sure we drain out anything that's in the pump. And the oxygen as it comes out into space freezes, and so that is solid oxygen.
Loss of signal Malindi expected.
We have passed out of range of the Malindi Africa ground station, still getting data through Dubai. Coming up in less than 10 seconds, deployment of satellite number 7. And there it goes.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
Our avionics engineer confirming what we got to see with the great views off of the Falcon 9 looking forward. Ten seconds to deployment of the 8th of 10 Iridium satellites. This one will be out of the field of view. We actually just saw a bit of the corner.
Payload deploy confirmed.
We have confirmation. I'd like to thank the second stage camera team for giving us an angle that let us see one that I don't think we've seen in the past. 2 satellites to go. Coming up on the deployment of the 9th satellite, that should be the one right smack dab in the middle of the field of view. And off to the right, I think you can also see one of the other Iridium satellites as we begin to trail along.
Payload deploy confirmed.
Another great view of an Iridium satellite coming off of the Falcon 9 dispenser mounted on the second stage. 9 satellites complete, 1 to go in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Coming up on the 10th and final Iridium satellite deployment,
Final spacecraft separation
an
confirmed.
avionics engineer with a cheery voice announces final spacecraft separation deployment. All 10 Iridium Next satellites, 10 for 10, a clean sweep again. This is going to bring an end to our webcast, and it's been a great webcast for us. Falcon 9 launched right on time. We had great weather for liftoff, except for the fog that kind of hit everything. Be curious to see what the launch photo looks like. First stage did its job and made it down despite the weather onto the drone ship. Second stage went into the planned 2 orbits, very accurate. And you just saw over the last 15 minutes, all 10 Iridium Next satellites deploying right on time with some great views as we passed over Africa and Asia. I'd like to thank our Iridium customer, the United States Air Force, for range support, and our licensing agency, the Federal Aviation Administration. Please follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. You can also check out our website at spacex.com. If you're interested in joining us, check out spacex.com careers. I'd like to thank you for letting us share the mission of Falcon 9 with you. Want you to join us on our upcoming flight of the spacecraft named Mariputi out of Cape Canaveral, and of course our final flight for Iridium, the Iridium 8 mission, later this year out of Vandenberg. Also like to thank Iridium for their playlist on Spotify. Makes me want to go take a look at putting one together myself, see if I too can be a great curator. With that, thanks everybody and have a great day.